Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. In Boston, one of my best friends is a singer-songwriter, and we combine my reading and her music, so this is awesome. Thank you, Neil, for having me. This poem has to do with fishing and religion. I'm going to tell you, I don't give disclaimers, but I'm going to tell you that a sheephead is a fish that grows, fish don't grow, they grow up, but it is in the river called the Indian River in Florida where I grew up. It's not a severed sheephead. That's a different poem. Indian River at dusk. The first and only time I caught a sheephead big enough to eat, black and white and breathing in my hands. On my way to get ice, I got distracted, tossed Dad's keys in the water. I was a good Catholic. I walked him to the spot and pointed. I made up a lie, but I named everyone I loved to God before falling asleep in my yellow room every night. God was a word person. After 2 Hail Marys and an Our Father, I'd be good again. Like my words, I knew where the keys landed. I've tried to write about this before. For over a year, I made myself guiltless, couldn't preserve the thing I caught or get the syntax right. I didn't know about currents. I can't keep anyone safe. Thank you. We'll do no clapping for 9 minutes so I can get the rest in. By the way, my first movie I ever saw, I thought it was My Girl. That's the first movie I remember seeing. But the first movie I ever saw was at a drive-in, and I don't remember because I think I was like 2 or 3. And it was Gremlins. And apparently the whole movie, I didn't cry, but I kept going, "What's that? What's that?" So that was my first movie.
You might explain to our Austrian friends what's a drive-in.
Nobody knows what a drive-in is?
Yeah. Okay.
I could make up anything. Morning love poem. Dreamt last night I fed you, unknowingly, something you were allergic to, and you were gone like that. You don't have even a single allergy, but still, the dream cracked. Cars nosedived off snowbanks into side streets. Sometimes dreams slip poison, make the living dead, then alive again, twirling in an unfamiliar room. It's hard to say, "I need you," enough. Today I did. Walked into your morning shower fully clothed. All the moments we stop ourselves just because we might feel embarrassed or impractical or get wet. At first, get wet came like 3 lines before because I wasn't bold enough to put it at the end. I read this in Bucharest at a literary death match. Have you heard of this? It's like boxing, in a boxing ring, but it's poetry. And I poured a whole bottle of water over my head with a deadpan look, and everyone was shocked. Shame. Overnight, someone has epoxied a bright pink dildo onto the Virgin Mary outside the Sacred Heart Church. It's Sunday. From the cafe window, I watch a woman cover her son's eyes and make the sign of the cross as they head past the statue's outstretched arms up the steps. A stranger at a neighboring table says, "Worse than the time some asshole in Hopkinton stole the plastic baby Jesus right out of the manger." I remember that. A sign in red paint. "Shame on you if you stole Jesus." I saw it on the news at Braintree Station that Christmas Eve. The camera panned a field of lighted reindeer, then Mary, palms in prayer at her chest, and Joseph on one knee, admiring a basket of snow. That was in Boston, and someone put the baby Jesus back after it was on the news. Visiting Amber at Lowell Correctional. A windowless room. Mom and I remove socks. Oh, I fucked that poem up. This is my first poem I ever wrote, and I worked on it for 5 years. I never fucked this poem up. I'm starting over. whiskey. Visiting Amber at Lowell Correctional. A windowless room. Mom and I remove shoes, socks, spread our arms wide between the cinder block wall and locked door. The guard takes a swallow of V8 before patting us down. Inside, I ask Amber if this is a maximum security facility. She tells me they've got her in here with murderers, like the gardener. Worked at daycare, killed a few kids there, buried them alive. They gave her yard duty until she began to name the trees she planted. Josie, Maggie, Stephanie. Slicing deep into her thighs, she mortared her wounds with shit and got gangrene. In a wheelchair now. Don't want to think about her no more, Amber says. Seeing her every day is bad enough. An inmate takes Polaroids, $2 each. Acrylic wall paintings in the background, one of an angel, feathers fanned out against a pastel sky. Stand here, Amber says. I want you to have wings. She's to my right, our mother to my left. We smile big. When I dream about my sister, she's a child, in our Florida backyard, wide-eyed and silent. She fills buckets with garden snakes, catches strawberry-necked lizards poised with the want of a mate. With one hand, she holds a wriggling lizard. With the other, she hinges its jaws open, then closed onto the lobe of her ear. When I read that poem, sometimes I see eyes go. The first time that I saw that, I was like, oh shit, and it doesn't throw me off anymore now. Skurtu, Romania. So I have this Romanian last name, and my dad was like, I think that all the Skurtus are in Sibiu. They're not, by the way. In the US, we're the only family I know with this name. Skurtu, Romania. Dad hears there's a town in Romania where almost everyone is a Skurtu. And I think about Joanne fabric, the aisles of zippers, mismatched bolts of cloth that frenzied my eyes electric. And on all of these, a zebra-striped sticker with the letters SKU, Skurtu Supplies. If this town exists, I imagine it's full of dads teaching their children to draw shapes, circle, square, slibby-doo. A town with balls, like Dad, when a cop pulled him over for no apparent reason, looked at his license and said, "Step out of the car, Mr. Skurtu." Looking that cop in the eye, Dad said, "That's not how you pronounce it. My name is Mr. Screw You." In that one family town, no one loses a name. Unlike Mr. Fraid, whose grandfather at Ellis Island spoke the only English words he knew but couldn't spell. I am afraid, and fear, with a foreign accent, renamed him. My dad really did that, and he taught me fake shapes. This is probably why I'm a fucking poet. I was listening to some physicist nerds talk about the black hole theory, and I started taking notes, and I was like, this is going to end up in a poem. Paradox. The theory of quantum gravity is the missing piece. Our laws tell us when they break down. If you don't believe me, throw a dictionary into a black hole, watch what happens to the words. Or take my sister, now a mother. Throw her in prison again. See how long she lasts in the hole until she breaks her mind against another vision. See how long her 4-year-old daughter remembers her love. For over a year, my niece believed the moon took my airplane and wouldn't let me go, but where is my mom? She asks. Toss a plane into a black hole and see where it lands. My sister tells me she's solved the paradox. She's been with me on the moon Since April. It's late October. I'm fumbling through stories I don't know how to tell. Head games, says my niece. One bright brown eye fills the screen of my phone, doesn't blink when she says, I want her face to be still like her face.